All right, so Blizzard just dropped a brand new video here into the Endgame, which we're going to react to here. Let's go see what's going on. Ooh, like Andariel there?
We're really excited about getting this game into players' hands and letting them experience this massive world.
A main cornerstone of D4 is play your way. As a player continues to advance through the story and into the endgame, they'll unlock a ton of brand new activities that provide meaningful progression, no matter their playstyle.
Players will be able to keep progressing in the narrative of the game. Alongside that, the whole team has worked on crafting a variety of different experiences players can pursue.
We're going to have an entire world of Sanctuary for our players to offer. There's going to never be an absence of something to do.
After the player has finished the campaign,
that sounds good.
There's a lot more game to go and participate in. They gain access to a special, what we call capstone dungeon that they have to complete. Once they're able to finish this capstone dungeon, they're going to gain access to the first world tier.
As you complete the world tier, it will open up the opportunity for you to go into your next world tier. That involves unlocking powerful loot, new items, and more advantages for your player to have a better opportunity at end game.
Whether you're a fan of dungeons, PvP, or just roaming around the world, there's a way to continue your Diablo adventure long after hitting max level. As your character continues to grow in power, you'll start with the skill tree and expand out into the paragon.
Okay, this doesn't look any different than what we've seen so far. Which is kind of good, I guess. They have a lot of gold, though.
System.
A lot of the choices the players make are grounded on skills themselves and the fantasies associated with those skills. The Paragon boards play.
Oh, they actually show the Paragon board here. There's some big Paragon board. It honestly looks not as cool as I was hoping to be. Check refund costs. Oh my gosh. Refund rank 105,000 gold. Oh no, no, no. He's gonna need that 2 million, man. He's gonna need that 2 million. Jeez. Please lower that down. All right. So we see glyphs on the side. We also see the full Paragon board. It looks like the Paragon board, you can kind of create like a square as well. So there's definitely some like maybe strategy to going around the corner and kind of stuff like that. That is, yeah. Also, like, it looks like the Paragon doesn't cost as much to reset, but still, that's pretty expensive. These look very familiar from what we've seen so far in terms of these layouts. So, but I think that maybe this is kind of different than what we've seen so far. So it's very likely that some of the data mine Paragon board stuff is wrong.
Place where we're allowed to have a lot more depth, a lot more customization, many more options as you go.
You can rotate the board, so you can choose a different path if you're like, I want to do.
Okay, so one legendary, one gem or glyph socket here, and then a whole bunch of rare nodes as well.
More strength-based things, right? I want these particular boons or glyphs. You can chart your path through it, and they're really a way for you to keep expanding your character and making it uniquely yours.
Similar to the Paragon boards is the Codex of Power. It's an in-game system that holds the aspects related to the character. You are able to complete a dungeon, and they will have a chance to drop an aspect that you can pick up.
And what this
I mean, you don't have to pick it up. It's just automatic.
Allows players to do is take items they're finding in the world and make them more powerful, turn them into legendary items.
It's really
Okay, so we can see here imprinting costs and the materials it takes. This guy is level 100, but the imprint here is not all that expensive. I wonder what type of gear this is.
Items.
It's really special to discover what kind of playstyle really means the most to you.
Nightmare Dungeon.
Every part of Sanctuary is fulfilling and satisfying. Dungeons in particular are really close to my heart. Nightmare Dungeons are going to give the players the opportunity to experience a dungeon that they might have already experienced in their past playthroughs. They'll enter the dungeon with a found sigil that alters the playstyle and the intensity of the dungeon.
They're more difficult, and they have
Spinning to
additional
win.
objectives, and then they also have affixes, which add a degree of difficulty for you and your group to work through.
One of my favorite affixes.
What is this that's floating in the air? There's like this little thing here. What is that?
Route to work through.
One of my favorite affixes that you can find in Nightmare Dungeons is actually called Hellgate. Occasionally, these portals will open up throughout the area that will just pour out different monsters that aren't native to that region for you to also be dealing with while you're trying to handle everything else inside the dungeon. There's over 120 dungeons to play through and find in Diablo 4, and any one of them can become a Nightmare Dungeon by finding a Nightmare Sigil and then using it to activate the Nightmare version of that dungeon space.
Everything's a little darker, everything's more difficult. It's going to
How's it even more darker? No.
add a little bit of a twist of flavor on your particular dungeon.
There's some targeted activities.
So I do like the fact that they're adding more monsters to the dungeon. I really just hope that the density is just a little bit better in general in the dungeon.
Activities in Diablo 4 that suit what you're feeling in the mood for.
The Forces of Hell are starting to have more influence in certain parts of Sanctuary in the vast interconnected overworld of the experience. And as the players are going into Helltide areas, they're going to find even more powerful monsters. And by killing them, they'll be able to gain these special shards they can take to go and use to purchase these big rewards are available at these caches that are found littered throughout Helltide areas.
The sky darkens and the rivers run red, meteors fall from the sky, and the monsters get harder. We really want to create new experiences for the players. There's one I really like called Whispers of the Dead, which you get from the Tree of Whispers. The Tree of Whispers is grim and a little gruesome, but it's also something...
So this is probably like more like bounty system.
Mystically haunting and kind of beautiful.
The tree has a little bit of a grudge against our players, and it would like for them to go serve its needs. So you're going...
It has a grudge against us. All right, so we see here Whisper silenced. We can see this is in a cellar. So this is probably a thing that we actually... One of the reasons we might actually want to go do cellars. There was no reason to do cellars in the beta. We see here level 75, this person's gained like 19,000 experience, which I think is like a lot of experience at low level, and gold.
So you're going to go serve these bounties, gather different rewards, different items, and bring them back to the tree in hopes that it can exchange you something really meaningful.
Maybe you're going
to... Okay, so you get to pick your rewards. So like one-handed weapons or boots or gloves. I do like this. I like being able to pick to farm what you want. I kind of thought you'd be able to pick out of anything, but yeah.
to go to the Fractured Peaks and take out some werewolves that are rampaging in a town. They're contained activities that you can do alone or in a group. We really wanted to create variety for people to be able to spend time where they wanted to in the world. It's very cool the way it's been put together, and I can't wait for...
Please show opening up one of these caches.
People to see it, to be honest.
The Fields of Hatred. Is this PvP? Is this PvP? Let's go.
In Diablo 4, we have a focus on the world of Sanctuary. And there are parts of that world that we call the Fields of Hatred, where Lilith's presence in Sanctuary has begun to seep through and manifest these poisonous areas throughout the world. When players go to these regions, they get to engage in player versus player conflict.
These offer opportunities for the player...
They should call it the Fields of Salt.
...to collect shards. But there is a little bit of a catch. In order to get these shards back to town, you'll need to purify them. Other players will definitely know that you're attempting to purify your shards, so you'd better be prepared to fight if you're going to be playing any PvP, and be prepared that you might lose some stuff in the meantime.
Once they get the purified shards, they can take these, go back to nearby towns to sell them, and then use that to buy a whole bunch of like interesting cosmetics.
Okay, let's look at their inventory here. So it looks like there is a vendor that allows you to buy stuff with these shards. I don't see anything in particular in the inventory that is different or the UI there. The sockets do seem slightly different than what we saw in the beta. They're a little bit bigger, I think, but for the most part, they're about the same. I will note that this player is also on a mount right now. And they have a PvP ear in their inventory right here.
Items and rewards.
It's a place
Also, their like armor is very low.
for people who really love PvP and want to still get loot and still increase their character's power. If that's the way they want to play, they can.
Launch is just the beginning. One of the things we're really focused on is creating a living, breathing set of updates for players to engage with after the game has gone live.
It's really just going to be a way to keep coming back and experiencing more Diablo 4 in fresh ways.
We're really eager to hear all of your experiences and just enjoy the entire story with you all.
was the first time seeing that world boss.
The entire story with you all.
Looks like he like caged you in, maybe? Or maybe this is a player generated thing? That looks like a bad idea to stay in the bone prison. And there we go. Wow. I didn't really feel like we got very much new information here. However, it's nice to see some of the systems kind of like visually how we can probably expect to see them. The glyph system itself kind of looks pretty neat. I do like the fact that on the board over here, they actually just store your glyphs, so they're not going to be something that's like taking up stash space, which would be very, very annoying. I do kind of wonder how these work for cross characters. Like, if I level up one glyph, will I be able to use it on other characters? If you don't know what these glyphs do, basically on the boards here, find spot, there's a board. There are these little red spots here. This is like a spot where you can socket in the glyph and it will apply an effect, and it will supposedly affect glyphs that are around it in a varying radiance, kind of like Path of Exiles has gems like that, or jewels that do stuff like that on its passive tree. Also looks like it just has like probably a keyword search highlighting some of these things. It's also kind of difficult to tell if the gate node here costs 1 point or 2. I'm guessing it's probably just 1 point, which is kind of good information to have. Yeah, I'm pretty hyped about this. I don't really feel like we got any brand new information with this video. However, it is kind of a nice confirmation of all the stuff that we kind of knew about a little bit from the closed beta test announcement that they did a long time ago. But yeah, that's the video. Hope you guys enjoy.